So how we go about our roles is literally, oh, Angela, you're the leader because you're the oldest and you're meant to be the most adult. Okay, Kerry, you're doing designs because you did Viscom. And it's like, oh, Kathleen, you're doing the accounting and money type of side because you did VC accounting. Like, this is the extent of our roles. And you can imagine it's like 18, 19, 20-year-olds. We're like, what the hell are we doing?
Hello and welcome to Lem's Weekly Conversation. On today's episode, we are joined by the founders of Subtle Asian Traits, Angela and Kerry Kang. In late 2018, the Kang siblings and their friends started a Facebook group during a weekend Chinese class. What was meant to be fun turned into a cultural phenomenon. Hundreds of thousands of Asian millennials joined the Facebook group in a matter of days. The group is now the biggest Asian community on Facebook, but with more than 1.5 million members, SAT is also one of the biggest Facebook group in the world. We hope you enjoyed this chat with Angela and Kerry.
Welcome to the show! Woo, 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 woo!
Happy hand effect.
So guys, we start the interview with the same question we've asked everyone. So what are you watching or listening to?
Oh, I sound like the biggest white girl. Taylor Swift, I guess.
Oh my gosh, her new album.
Yeah, her new album is pretty cool. And then how she's performing at Melbourne Club. Although, like, I probably won't be able to go, which is kind of sad.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the new scandal that's going with Taylor Swift and the Melbourne Cup, though?
What's the new
The
scandal?
controversy.
The controversy.
Oh, like how she's supporting it. And, like, it's really
Yes,
sad for
yeah.
animals. Yeah. But, like, there was a report that said apparently, like, because she's announced that she's going to be performing, the sales have increased by, like, 20 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So go Taylor Swift.
And what about you, Kerry?
Well, like the only thing that I actually watch and like actually like week to week basis look at is like anime.
Anime, what anime are you watching?
I was into One Piece, but like I kind of stopped that because it like is like week to week. But I usually watch like seasonal animes, so like ones that come out like every week. Every week, every like season. Right now, I never know like the anime names because they're all in Japanese. But I watch all of
What's the
them.
storyline? Because anime have like the weirdest storylines.
No, every storyline is literally just like someone coming from another world because like they died or like some god thing or like some magic thing.
Yeah.
They basically have OP powers, and I'm just into that.
He uses up all the internet.
I
know,
do.
Oh my
like,
God.
The internet's so damn slow because of you.
All right, so let's take it back to when it all first started. So you guys were at Chinese school. So whose idea was it to create the group? Like, how did it all come about?
Right. So originally there was a Facebook group called Subtle Private School Traits, right? And that was just like circulating around Melbourne. And then it was basically like my kind of, not generation, but like my year level. And then I showed it to Angela, who had no idea what it was. Angela was like, oh my God, it'd be such a good idea if we did Subtle Asian Traits. And then I was like, oh, okay. So then I messaged my Chinese school group. And then I was like, oh, what if we started like Subtle Asian Traits? Because everyone knew what Subtle Private School Traits was. And then so we just like set, so one of the admins, so Kathleen just opened it, started the group and then just added all of us as admins. And then we all added all of our friends. And then we just started like posting our stuff. So like, I think the first post was Tony saying, when you hoard toothpicks at an Asian restaurant, like you just start taking the Asian toothpicks.
Does that in the
No one likes to like buy toothpicks. And then it just blew up from there.
Oh my gosh. Can I just say, like, this just proves China school is a waste of time.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like, even when I was at China school, I'd never, like, ever got any work done. Like, I never learned a sentence.
I think I probably spoke more English in class than I did Chinese. Like,
Yeah.
I used to pay some kid $2 just to copy his test.
No way.
I actually never had an experience in Chinese school. I went once and then I cried. I never went back.
I think your parents didn't force you to continue.
My mom tried to force me, but in the end, she kind of just gave us like, okay, you just keep crying. I can't do this
Oh my
anymore.
God. How old were you?
I think I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
But it's one of my biggest regrets in life.
Yeah.
My biggest
But Chinese
regrets.
school wasn't even the worst part. It was like the scholarship class
Oh my
afterwards.
God.
Did you guys even do that?
No, I went like 2
Those
years.
were the lucky
Yeah.
kids. Like they went home at 12:30, whereas we went home at like
3.
No, it was later. It was
Really?
like 5 or something.
Oh my God.
It was scholarship classes because you had to do like maths and English afterwards, and it was the biggest waste of time. And oh my God, so at the end, like everyone was going for scholarship tests, like to go to Melbourne High, Mac Rob, and then I remember in year 9, and then I was like, Mum, did you forget that like enrollments have opened? Like, because everyone else is enrolling, and you've made me go to like the tutor classes for so many years. Like, are you going to enroll me? And she's like, no, like, I just want you to do the class. I didn't think you were going to get into MacRob anyway because you're probably not going to be smart enough. And I was like, oh, but like, cool. I don't need to do this test.
She applied me for Melbourne High.
Yeah, you still
I didn't
didn't
get
fucking
in.
get in.
But she still enrolled me.
Do you looking back? Do you guys regret? I mean, like, do you guys appreciate that you went to Chinese school?
Can
you speak? Can you actually speak Chinese?
Yeah.
Well, Angela can. I can't.
Well, you try to, but it sucks. Like, you sound so, like, broken.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like, because obviously I use Chinese nowadays, but like just learning, I hated learning it as a subject. Learning anything as a subject is a pain, but like I find anything interesting. I just hate learning it.
Yeah. But like, one good thing came out was subtle Asian traits.
Well, yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
So, okay, so what happened after you guys created, like the first 48 hours? What was that whole thing like? How fast did it blow up?
First 48 hours, I don't think it blew up that fast.
Because I remember, like, I don't want to brag or anything, but because I'm older, I have more friends. And because, like, I had friends from Chinese school, I had friends from uni, I had friends from high school that were Asian, and just, like, other people I've met along the way, like mutual friends, friends of friends. And then, like, say, I don't know the exact amount you guys added, but I remember that night when I first started, I added, like, 500 friends. And then, like, you know when you get those notifications and it's, like, so annoying. It's like, oh, Phil has asked you to like his stupid DJ page or something. And I'm like, damn, I've, like, become that person.
I've done that before, actually.
Yeah, I'm like, I have, like, shit, I've become that person. But, like, I'm like, oh, but I want to grow my group. So if they ignore it, whatever. And then people started to accept it. And then people started to add their own friends. And then, like, before long, we had hit, like, I think the first night we'd already went over 1,000.
Wow.
Because, well, if I invited, like, 600 and everyone added about 200 or something.
So, do you guys
each.
intended it for it to be a big group, or was it just meant to be for you guys only? Or
It was
what?
just literally, like, traits. So to give you an example, it started off being traits. Now it's just become memes. But, like, in subtle private school traits, what they would have traits would be like, oh, haha, when your school blazer costs more than a Hugo Boss blazer or a Gucci blazer. Yeah. And then so subtle Asian traits, it used to be just like a trait, like a sentence.
Right. So it's kind of like mimic.
Yeah, so
principles, yeah.
that's why Tony wrote like when Asians hoard toothpicks from restaurants and stuff. And then it was when we first started it, we obviously had to post ourselves, or else everyone would be like, what the hell is this group about? So we had to like lead by example in a way. And then it's become what it is now, which is just memes.
Can I just
And
say?
stories,
Can I just say? I don't want to brag, but I was just 16,000.
I was 22,000.
Okay, how did you find that out?
We were both added by the same friend.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
right.
yeah.
So my friend, our friend Amanda, God bless her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She added everyone on her friend list. Like, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
that's what I
sure.
mean. Like, that's how it blew up so fast because not only would I just add one person, but lots of the time I would add like maybe 20 people, maybe I'd add 100 people. And that's how it grew so fast because one person would add 10 people, say, or one person would add 100 people, 200 people, however
Sounds
many
like a
friends they had.
pyramid scheme.
It is crazy, yeah.
So like even if it's not 100 people, it would be like you just add your friendship group because like you can't tag people outside of the
Yes,
group.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to add them first, and you'd be like, get in the group so I can
Yeah.
tag you with this meme.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize, like, wow, guys, we're onto something really, really big here?
Well, the way that we tracked our progress was like the number 8. So like in Asian culture, like 8 is really lucky. So then we were like, okay, so we have to reach 8,000. We have to reach 8,888.
Yeah.
And then so we took a screenshot of that, and then we waited for the next one. I think we missed that actually.
Yeah, we probably missed it. Oh, do you want to tell the story of when we removed people?
just to get the number.
Yeah.
No, so like we wanted to, I don't remember the exact number, but we wanted to get like 88,888. And then we had to like watch it all the time because say for instance, if one person added one extra person, the stat will look ugly. Little did we know we could just like Photoshop it or like use programs that we could. So what we did, one of the admins, I'm not going to name who, just removed people so that we could get this perfect number.
And then we like turned off notifications so people couldn't like add everyone
Yeah,
else.
so we made it so like only we could approve people for this certain amount of time. And it was probably at like 1, 2 a.m. and we were just sitting there all refreshing our laptops being like, shit, we missed the number. And then we started deleting people.
Sorry to those people who
Yeah, I'm
never
sure
made
they're
it.
in the
to
group now, but like they're probably like, why was I accepted and removed again?
So every time you refresh your page, how many requests did you get like to join the group?
It was like hundreds at the start, and then it turns into thousands.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where like we couldn't personally add people ourselves, so we just said it so that everyone could come in.
yeah, approve.
And what was that like, even with, improving memes? Because going to uni, did you have to hire other people to do that for you? Or how was that like at the very start?
So at start we would allow anyone to post anything. So the only example that we have is Subtle Private School Traits, which we didn't start, by the way. And that group was probably really strong for about 2 months. And then what happened, so now if you like search Subtle Private School Traits on Facebook, you won't be able to find it, because what that person did, the creator, they changed the name, and then I think they used it for something else, so they can like brag and be like, oh my god, this random page I created has this amount of members. But it became shit because they allowed anyone to post anything. So then the traits would get repetitive, and then people would probably start spamming it. So we realized that really early on with Subtle Asian Traits, that if we didn't want to go down the same path with Subtle Private School Traits, that we would have to turn on approved posts, which is really damn annoying for the members, because they have to wait for their post to be approved. But it's only fair that way. That way everyone, we don't keep seeing the same things. You guys don't keep seeing the same things in your news feed, and nothing like really offensive, really racist, and all those like bad things are seen. Yeah. So
How many members or how many admins or moderators you guys have now?
So we have 8 admins, and then we have maybe around 30 to 40 moderators. And so these moderators are like worldwide. So originally the moderators were just like our friends who like wanted to kind of help out. And then we realized that we needed more moderators to kind of help with the approval rates. And then so the first kind of round that we asked for moderators was basically diversity, because we got like a bit of backlash because we were all like Chinese, we're all the same background.
We're
So
going to ask you that
we
as well.
didn't really, we didn't really like have much diversity, and we didn't really like, and not only that, we didn't understand the memes that were not Chinese.
yeah.
So we thought,
true.
we actually needed some people outside of our ethnicity, our own culture. And then the second round was asking people worldwide. So we wanted more people from like America, people from like Europe, so that like when we're sleeping, they can be approving. When they're sleeping, we can be approving. And also because like the difference in like culture between like Asian Australians and Asian Americans. Like they say boba, which is obviously not right.
It's bubble tea.
It's bubble tea,
Yeah.
right? And then there's like this period of time where like there was just like this fight between like boba and bubble tea. And people were like putting like whole paragraphs on like why it's actually bubble tea, which obviously it is bubble tea, but yeah, like that's how we kind of, and the moderators like really happy to help. Like we got so many different applications saying, I would love to help because I've been in this group since the start, and I love like, what you do, like the impact that you have on our community. And then and so like a lot of the times when we want to organize something, let's say for example there's a trivia night in SoCal. We have a moderator over there who really wants to help out, Zoe, and she's happy to like take on board all the responsibility and like kind of organize that for us. Like,
It's interesting you mentioned like these people want to help because they feel like they're contributing something to our community.
It's literally all voluntary.
Yeah.
Like we don't pocket anything. We don't pay anyone. It's literally just out of like our own free time.
What kind of impact do you think you're making to the community? Because you guys obviously have made such a big cultural impact, whether or not you guys realize it or not. So what kind of impact do you think you guys have made?
well,
You got deep really fast.
well, like before us, there wasn't really like any kind of online group apart from like Reddit, maybe like a few separate groups that like kind of talk about the Asian culture. And then so I think this is Subtle Asian Traits is a great conversation starter and a great way for people to kind of share their experiences. Like our page is pretty much only like the only thing that kind of goes through is, apart from memes, is like their own experiences and the way that people like experience different things. And so like our cultures might be the same, but then we have different experiences throughout those. Like for example, a lot of time parents can either be like really accepting or like really like traditional, very like conservative, and so that a lot of people will like reach out and try to help, and just like share their traits.
Me and Tom were discussing this morning for the interview. We were saying we think there's such a like hunger for Asian media because we don't get that on our mainstream TV, and it's the reason why YouTubers, for example, all the biggest YouTubers are Asian. And there's a reason for that. It's because we're not being represented.
Voiced,
yeah. So I feel like, you guys are like made such a big impact. And do you guys feel like, feel like you're responsible, like the responsibility to to filter out some, make sure that you're starting conversations.
Or kind of carry on that legacy as well.
Like, to be honest with you, like we have had, like really early on, we had people who wanted to who actually offered us dollar values to like buy the group because they saw so much potential in it. In order to some guy wanted to use it as like his events company or something like that to like do DJ stuff, and then and I was like, no DJs, no. And then like although the money looked good, it was like what we created. And although if like we didn't know that it would last like a year or 2 years or so on, like even if it lasted 2 weeks or something, we could at least say like this is what we created and we were like proud of what we created in a way, and just be like responsible and just be like happy and be able to celebrate what we've done, I think is quite an achievement.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's came from such an organic background as well.
Yeah, like we literally are nobodies in the world. And we literally just created a Facebook group, which I think we're very humble about. Like anyone could have done it, and it wasn't even just some genius idea or anything. It was just, you didn't realize you needed it in your life until it's there.
And you mentioned like a lot of people have reached out to you. What kind of people have reached out to you? What kind of offers have you gotten?
In terms of like money?
In just terms of like,
Or what do you mean?
like partnership, buying out, acquiring.
Like at the start we did. We haven't received anything recently, although I don't think we would even consider it really. It's not like about who we are. It's more like the whole point of it is bringing like a community and like celebrating a culture, which I think no one would be able to do better than we are at the moment because we like want to stay true to who we are. And if you sell it, it's like when you're selling a business or something, like no one is actually better than the actual business owner or like the person who owns it. Like they're committed like more than anyone.
Yeah, I think because you know what the vision is. So
Yeah.
you know what you want to achieve.
Has that given you guys more opportunities to kind of do things you've never done before? Like meet new people? Because I understand, Kerry, yourself, that you had the opportunity to go to Facebook America. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
So just answering the first question before, a lot of the time when companies kind of or businesses kind of approach us, we would reply saying like, what can you give us outside of money? So like giveaways, like events, can you host, do anything? So a lot of the time, like a lot of the first few like kind of sponsors that were like approached us were more giveaways so that we could give back to the companies. And then a lot of the time when businesses
Give back to the members.
give back to the members,
Yeah.
sorry, not company. And then when businesses try to advertise their own company, we would be like, oh, can you do any events? Like, and that's how we kind of met Phil. So he wanted to advertise his own company. We thought, oh, like it would be great if we could celebrate our
What were we celebrating again? Was it
6
Was it 1 million?
1 million.
Yeah,
1 million members.
Yeah.
To like at a donut event. And that went really well.
That was super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had like a Instagram friend.
Well, yeah, like everyone loves donuts, and then like in a way, it's like Phil's an Asian business. Like he started his own Asian business, so I think be able to help like small businesses
Was
is
that your
really
first
cool
event
as
as
well.
well?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Because then we went to Scarlet, which is like a nightclub.
Yeah,
So that
afterwards.
was like an Asian nightclub, something
Yeah.
different.
And we had,
something
that was
fun.
so cute. We had some drinks together.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
Exactly.
It was professional.
Yeah, very professional. Yes, just a couple of drinks.
So you guys do get quite a lot of perks as well. And
We got free koala pillows.
Yeah,
I
well-
haven't slept on it. Yeah.
No, I gave it to my grandma because she got neck problems.
Have you guys ever thought yourselves as influencers?
Oh my god! So my uni friends, when I was like in uni last year, they're like, Angela, why do you even want to do radiography? Just you've become an influencer. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, no, I'm not an influencer. I don't want to be one of those like Instagram bikini models. Like,
Yeah, but you don't have to be a bikini model to become an to be
yeah,
an
that's
influencer,
true.
yeah.
Like people have asked me, would you consider this as like a full-time thing? And like I know nothing about this industry.
Well, the thing is, like, we're all pretty much in first year. Angela's just
Yeah.
graduated. And so we, like, have no experiences in this kind of stuff. And we're not actually doing anything to do with marketing. Like, I'm doing engineering. Like, other people are doing, like, biomed or doing, like,
Science.
yeah,
and, yeah.
arts. Yeah. So, like,
So how we go about our roles is literally, oh, Angela, you're the leader because you're the oldest and you're meant to be the most adult. Okay, Kerry, you're doing designs because you did viscom. And it's like, oh, Kathleen, you're doing the accounting and money type of side because you did VC accounting. Like, this is the extent of our roles. And you can imagine it's like 18, 19, 20-year-olds. We're like, what the hell are we doing?
at least you guys are like utilizing your strengths as well.
Yeah, like but we their strengths were being like VCE strengths. Are they much like?
Have you ever had people try to kind of befriend you guys to try to get in, or
Well, like, because like I don't exactly introduce myself saying, "Oh, hi, I'm Kerry. I am an admin of subtle Asian traits," right? So it's like people don't actually like approach us like wanting to be our friend, but like a lot of the times when we like do partner up with people, they see us as like not kind of innocent, but more like less experienced. So they do want to try to help. Like Phil has been like a great help in that end, and also Mickey from Scarlet as well. So like
It's just trying to trying to differentiate the people who are like genuinely like wanting to help subtle Asian traits in the Asian community and seeing who we are, and like it's being really wholesome. Whereas separating it from, okay, I want like percentage of shares in your company.
And you can pretty much tell when someone has a motive like behind what like how they do the intentions and stuff. Like a lot of the times, if like we would ask them, "What do you get out of it?" kind of thing. Like if they're trying to help us, we're like, "Oh, what are you trying to get?" And like a lot of the time they'll be like, "Oh, like we just want to help you guys," and that kind of thing.
it's very similar to Phil as well, because when he started his own Hello K-pop website many years ago, he was telling me that a lot of people were taking advantage. He didn't know anything about the media industry.
Yeah.
So when Phil saw this, he said, "You guys are in the same position as I was a couple of years ago."
Yeah.
So yeah, differentiating people who generally want to help and people who see dollar signs. I think that's something that you guys.
It's just whether the values align or not.
Yeah, and I did tell Thomas a few times about this. Like, I do feel like not a responsibility, or kind of. I feel like I want to look out for you guys because when I was 16, 17, I had Hello K-pop, and it was a big platform for me, right? But I didn't know how to deal with that kind of platform, and a lot of people, I was doing a lot of things for free and not like getting anything out of it. Yeah, and looking back, like I regret that period for not taking that opportunity a bit more. But like
even Facebook has contacted us and they've been like, what the hell are you guys doing? Because we have nothing to compare your group to. Like even the Facebook settings, and like when you think of groups, okay, the groups that you've been part of, I've been part of like U12 formal dresses group and like friendship groups and stuff like that. No one has been really part of, there's like a dogs group that's like got 1 million something
Dog
people.
spotting. I love dog spotting.
But like there's no other groups that have 1 million something people in them. So Facebook hasn't developed settings for that. So we don't really have anyone to learn off or any footsteps to follow. We're literally just creating it for ourselves.
Have they ever came to you and kind of said that you should be posting this kind of more content like this, or restricting you to kind of posting other contents, or?
Not really. I think they're just happy we're on there.
I think they know that like we do us and they do them. So like,
as long as we're not breaking any of the Facebook rules or laws, like no nudity, no that type of stuff. Like, although like we pretty much know they're the same rules as what we're pretty understanding and know what Facebook rules are. Yeah. So yeah, we follow their rules and it works out.
So, Kerry, Facebook did invite you guys to was it San Fran?
San Fran. So originally they asked one of us to go, and that was like Angela. So I think it was they just like randomly called her and was...
Is it because Angela's the oldest?
I think so.
Like the best.
So they called Angela. They were like, "Can I ask a few questions?" Blah blah blah. And then so she answered them apparently nicely, like well. And then they were like, "Oh, do you want to come to our HQ in?"
But they gave me like 1 week's notice. They were like, "Can you get your plane like next week?" And I'm like, what?
And then so like we had already been like planning a trip to like New York, and like a few weeks after that. And so like Angela was like, "Shit, I have to get my passport ready." She didn't get her passport ready because you have to plan like six months in advance before it like expires, and she didn't get that, so she couldn't get her passport in time, and also that she couldn't get time off work. So she was like, "Okay, the next best thing is my brother. Can he go?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll go." And then so
exams.
Yeah, so the conference was on the 11th. I had to fly out on the night of the 10th because then I'd get there on the 10th. Right, because like the time differences, and then my exam and my folio for architecture was due on the 14th, right? And then
but in the morning of your flight, you also had a presentation.
Yeah, so in the morning, so the 10th of the morning, I had like my first, like my final presentation for architecture, and then after that, I had to leave early to catch my flight at 2.
So he was there in America for like 48 hours.
Yeah,
hectic.
Wait,
so
did you have to pay for your flight yourself?
No, so Facebook was I was lucky enough for Facebook to cover like flights, accommodation, transport. So then I flew in, and then I stayed the night. I got there around 7, had dinner with like the people that I was meeting, and then the 11th I had the conference. So it was the first conference was like the big one where there was three groups. So there was me from Subtle Asian Traits, a lady from Maternativa, and another girl from Gone Girl International. And then, so there was us 3 on the panel plus the head of groups. She was asking questions in front of 60 international media companies. And then, so that was the first one. And then the second one, we kind of broke up into our like individual groups. So like people from like East Asia, like media companies, like asked like specifically me questions. So I was like me, the head of the groups, and like 10 of them. So I was like so scared, but like I like all the questions I already knew because they were already prepared. So then I just had dot points, and all I had to do was kind of not read them out, but like kind of naturally answer them.
Yeah.
So everything was like really cool, and then I got to like see the different like areas of Facebook. Like they have free everything.
I was gonna ask you, is it true they have like a buffet there?
They do. They don't have just one buffet. They have multiple buffets. They have like the breakfast buffet, then they have like the Asian like buffets, and they have like frozen ice cream, frozen yogurt, ice cream, like smoothies. Like this is all like free, and so I think it's just so that like Facebook can kind of like basically get their like employees to come to work because they're right because it's like their timetables are so different, and like they can like kind of organize it whatever they want. Like if they need to work 8 hours, it could be from like the morning to like afternoon, or like afternoon to night.
They do call it a campus for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you end up seeing like Mark Zuckerberg or?
No, and apparently like they were talking about it so like naturally. They were like, "Oh yeah, sometimes I see Mark just kind of walking around," and I was like, "I don't want to see Mark." And then so they were like, "Oh, like Mark always has this like security around him. It's all official, but like he'll like come talk to us." And I was like, "Oh,
Why won't you come today?
I know, yeah."
What's the coolest thing at Facebook HQ?
Coolest thing.
I think the free food is already pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Was there any like standout dishes?
Well, like there was this area that like they only served like there was a bubble tea dispenser. I was like, oh my god.
But then did you take away containers to kind of take something?
Yeah.
I don't think there was takeaway containers. They usually take as much as they want. But like I was talking to them, I was like, well, what do you do with all like the extra food and stuff? And then they were like, oh, we kind of like talked to like the areas around us, and like they talked to like the volunteer places, and like they kind of just like recycle the food. Because they get so much, and like all the stats and stuff, they're like really into the stats at Facebook, obviously.
Of course, it's a data.
And so, and so like they'll like calculate how much food is being left over, and like always try to like minimize that and everything. But like the best thing was probably just the frozen bar, like not the bar, the
bubble tea.
The frozen yogurt and like the ice cream. I love that. Yeah.
You missed out, Angela.
No, I was here like at work, and then at work I was like FaceTiming Kerry. Kerry was like walking around the campus and having fun.
Oh, but another thing that I realized was like because I was 18, right, and so like their drinking age was like 21. So they were all like, "Oh, do you want to drink?" And I was like, "I can't drink."
That's right.
Your baby.
I know. They were like, "They won't know," and I was like, "I know. I will know."
Mom and Dad will know.
So how you're 18, right?
Yeah.
So as an 18-year-old, did you feel like you were qualified to give them?
Oh, absolutely not. Like I hadn't done anything like this before. Like I don't usually like go out and like speak in public. Out of all of us admins, I'm probably like the most experienced, I guess, because like I do like musical theater at like school, so I do like music, so I'm comfortable in front of a stage, but not exactly talking to it.
Well, it's not every day you get invited to Facebook to make a
exactly.
presentation.
Yeah,
Who's prepared for that?
So yeah, and like it kind of forced me to grow up a lot because like it was the first time that I was flying by myself.
Yeah, because Mum was like, "Oh, Kerry, do you want me to come along with you? Like, I've got days off." And Kerry's like, "No, I don't want you to come with me, Mum."
I'm a grown up.
Yeah.
And just like planning like everything, like planning like transport, planning like where I could go, like because on I think it was the 12th or something, the day after, I could just like kind of go around and explore, and I was like, I'm not prepared to take the public transport by myself because I'd be so scared. So I just like walked around. I went to
Tell them how you walked to because I was like, Kerry, since you're in America, like buy us some snacks so you can bring back snacks for the team.
And then I went to the only thing around in because I was around was it Menlo Park, and Menlo Park is like really like healthy. So the only place I could go was like Whole Foods, and I was like, I don't want to buy like all these
Healthy snacks.
healthy
It's
snacks.
like vegetarian, vegan
I don't know.
foods.
I was like, where's the Pop Tarts? I want Pop Tarts. Yeah.
So coming back from Facebook back to Melbourne, did you kind of take anything back from that, or anything that you guys wanted to do a bit differently, or?
I think like Kerry did meet like because Facebook, when you message Facebook, it's like welcome to customer services, like and then they send you such a generic email back, and you're like, I just want to speak to a person. And then we have spoken to Facebook previously, but we've spoken to people from like London, from Singapore. But like not anyone specifically to do with groups, because they all work in different areas. So it's more to do with the connections and the people he made. And because like right now we're still in contact with some people who he met and that have been like liaison between us and the groups. So I think... Oh, and the free portable charger that says Facebook
Yeah,
on it. Lots of
that's
free
pretty cool.
things. They have like a merch shop.
I use my tote bag like every day.
Oh, and I was like, Kerry was video calling me, and then I was like, Kerry, buy me something from the merch shop. And he's like, what do you want? I was like, I don't really want a hoodie or a t-shirt. And they had these cups, they had mugs that had Facebook on it. And I was like, yeah, buy me the mug. I'll use the mug at home. And he pays like what, $15 or something ridiculous for it. And he comes home, and then it's printed for left-handers.
It's
Because
so
it's the
weird.
other way around.
Right.
So when you drink it, the handle is like, if I'm a right-hander and I'm holding the mug on my right hand, the Facebook logo will be facing my mouth.
Oh.
It's not facing the other way. So I'm like, okay, Kerry, I guess it's yours because he's a left-hander. So he bought this gift for me, but it's for himself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so, you guys have a lot of celebrities who are in the group. How many celebrities do you guys know that are in the group?
There was like Hassan Minaj. Am I saying his
Hassan
name
Minaj,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, he's really popular apparently.
You guys get a lot of Crazy Rich Asian casts.
So
People in the group,
there
right?
was actually, what was this? It was Neck Shark. The guy who interviewed us, Benny, he interviewed us quite early on Subtle Asian Traits, and then he was like, because we were all sitting in front of the video camera, and he was like in America and we were in Australia, and then it was like most of our team, so probably like 6 or 7 of us sitting in front of the camera. And he's like, oh guys, like the last time I interviewed this many people in front of a camera was the Crazy Rich Asian cast.
Oh
and we
my
were
gosh.
like, whoa, like we're compared to them. But I think a few of them might be in the group. We've heard rumors that there's like Chloe Kim, I think that's her name, the American snowboarder. Apparently I don't know whether lots of them are in SAT, because if you search up the members, like if you search up Kim, there'd be like thousands. So I'm not going to go through all of them.
All the Kevins and all the new ones.
Yeah, all the
exactly.
Kevins and Nguyen's, all those memes. But like we know that they know of Subtle Asian Traits, and I've heard rumors that like Harry Shum Jr. also knows about SAT. But whether that's just rumors or whether they actually...
I'm sure they heard of it. Because
Yeah.
he hangs with the Wong Fu guys, and Wong Fu knows you guys. Like,
yeah,
is in the
Wong
group.
Fu is part of the group.
Tableau.
Yeah, Tableau,
Eric
Nam. Nam or Nam?
Nam,
Am I
Nam?
like saying it really white?
And a lot of the times, like K-pop groups would like, I think what was
Yeah,
the first one?
Dreamcatcher, Got Seven.
Got 7, yeah. So like those two kind of like approached us. They were like, "Oh, hi, can we do a few like giveaways?" And we were like, "Can you give some to us?" Because like Kathleen in our group is like a really big K-pop fan. So like they were like, "Yeah, we're like happy to give you like your team like
Free
free
tickets
tickets
to a
as well as like
concert,
giveaways as
yeah.
well." And so that was a big thing. So I got to go to my first. Well, it wasn't my first. It was my second K-pop concert. And I don't know much about K-pop, but I was just sitting there like, woo! And all the girls was like, woo! And all the guys were sitting there like, this is so boring. Because it was like, Got 7 is like a guys group. And so like, they were just kind of sitting there like listening to the music. But then, so they also like Dreamcatchers gave tickets to us, but like it was the same day that the place
fire.
burned down.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get
that's
to
It
go.
didn't burn down, but there was
It
like
was
a
like a
mini
fire.
fire
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah, they had a concert. They were having a concert in Melbourne, and then on
The
the day,
venue.
the venue caught on fire, so they had to cancel
Yeah,
it.
the night before.
Yeah.
That's really bad luck.
Exactly,
Yeah.
on the same day. So
But now that Subtle Asian has become so big, have you guys received any backlash or any kind of criticism at all?
Other than the the Asian representation thing, has there been any other criticism?
Well, because from the start we wanted this set of rules because we didn't want it to be too much like blah 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 like spammy. So we have all these different rules. One that is the biggest one is no political or religious content, and that's just because we don't want to spark anything further. We don't want to kind of take sides. Because in our group there are people on both sides, and we don't want to exactly seem biased. But not only that, we don't want to make it worse. So all these different rules, and then from the different rules came the spin-off groups. And so there's so many different spin-off groups. Say, for example, the biggest spin-off group is subtle Asian dating. And that was because we didn't want people to like kind of advertise their own. Like they were like,
Dating,
this is my friend. They're blah, 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 blah. They're looking for a boyfriend, girlfriend. Like, please date them, like, blah, blah, blah. We were like, okay. Like, at the start, we were like, okay, that's a bit funny. But then it got, like, a bit spammy. So we're like, okay, maybe we don't want to kind of endorse that. And so, yeah, so subtle Asian dating spin-off and all these different ones as well, like subtle Asian Christian traits or something.
I'm part of that group.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there's-
so lots of spin-off groups.
I know there's like subtle curry traits.
Yeah.
There's lots of them, and I feel that because sometimes Asia, it's such a big term that a lot of us who are in the group, we are mostly East Asian as well, and sometimes looking back at it, I've seen some comments where they felt that it's a little bit exclusive, but there hasn't been a platform to represent East Asians yet.
Yeah.
And what you guys are doing is quite powerful, and it's quite good as well. Yeah.
It's another thing, just like you can't satisfy everyone.
You can't.
Yeah,
No.
and like,
Your haters are gonna hate. Haters will hate.
and there's platform for everything. Like there's
Yeah, the political thing I think is really subjective. Is it subjective?
Yeah.
Just because like everyone's got their own opinion on things, and if we are approving one side of the story, it will make our biased opinions kind of show. So it's fine to talk about political things in life, I think, but there's a time and place for it, and I feel like SAT just isn't the place and the platform for it. If you want to bring that elsewhere, it's just because then the comments just become like people being like taking it really personally, and then it becomes not a nice place, really.
Are there any I guess flexibility if there was issues for example about an Asian person being discriminated from a workplace?
Oh,
something?
absolutely.
Would that be something that you guys would stand up and champion?
Yeah, so then those kind of as I was saying before, personal experiences we really do like to endorse. We would approve it, and then not only that, we would kind of see how it kind of tracks, and a lot of the time, 100% of the let's say 95% of the time, it's all positive feedback. And then if let's say someone will be oh grow up, something like that, we'll just delete it. And a lot of the time we kind of rely on our members to report, because we can't see everything. We can kind of go through every post, but we can't see every comment or every react or whatever. So we heavily rely on our members to report. And recently there's this being new Facebook feature where they can kind of we can keywords. So we can type in a keyword, say every time someone says the N word, it comes up, and then so we would just delete it from there, because we don't want something like that in our page. Absolutely, in any context, we don't want that.
And now your team has because you guys have admins and mods from Australia and from overseas as well, because it's such a big group running it, has there been any kind of internal conflict between you guys that you kind of have to deal with, or?
Well, a lot of the time between mods and admins, the mods kind of respect the admins' decisions, and at the start we said oh, we're we're happy for you to help, but you have to kind of follow our rules, and they're happy to do that.
I think our rules are really reasonable.
Yeah.
It's nothing you don't have. What do they call those jokes where it's just are Chinese people better than Vietnamese people, or Vietnamese people better than Korean people? I think anyone would understand that stuff isn't necessary to be posted on SAT. Absolutely. So those are the type of rules that we've set. If they want to be mod, they have to follow these rules, and they're reasonable, I think, at the end of the day.
If it doesn't give anything back, if it's not positive, then why should we approve it? At the end of the day, we're still trying to find happy, funny, relatable content, and something like that isn't relatable.
We do trust our moderators as well. It's you would approve stuff that you want to see on your own timeline. Would you want to see this? Probably not, then delete it.
And a lot of the time it's really flexible. A lot of posts are very not subjective, but
what I find funny might be different to
specific.
what you find funny.
Yeah.
So there's not a golden meme, apart from all those bubble tea memes. We have received backlash that some people you reproved too many boba memes and bubble tea memes, and so I had to send a message to our chat and be guys, just because it's a bubble tea in a picture doesn't mean you have to approve it. It still needs to have some quality behind it.
Turn it down on the bubble tea.
Yeah, sadly.
And then we also have different chats as well. So we have the admin chat that we talk about admin stuff, and then we have the mod chat that it's all very casual. And then we also have the reports chat. And then like each of the chats have like different like names. So like the mods chat is like Sam, so like subtle Asian mods.
Moderators, yeah.
And then like the report one is like Rat, so like report Asian traits. And so like so the report one is just like for us to like kind of keep track of like all the different like reported kind of posts. And we try to have like some sort of system, but because there's so many of us, sometimes you can get lost. So it's a lot of like members like being like, why wasn't this approved? Why wasn't like deleted? And we think there's nothing much we can do really. We have how many, like 40,000 pending posts.
Yeah, at the
Like
moment.
there's nothing much we can do.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. How many do you get a day then?
It's really hard to keep track of because like you could only, if you are approving posts at the same time, you might be getting more posts in. So last month we went through we approved around 35,000 posts, but right now we're still sitting on 40,000. So it's like we haven't moved. Like,
Do you have a goal on how many posts do you want to approve a day?
so like I've been kind of writing like weekly reports on behalf of our team. So ideally we say each person approve about 20 posts a day, which isn't a whole heap, but like as a whole team each week we might get through around 2,000-3,000 posts.
Wow.
So it is a team effort really.
So it's like 1 month pending to get in.
Yeah, it is, but then like I don't want to blame Facebook, but Facebook settings aren't ideal because just to explain it to you, when you're on your laptop, you can sort it by chronological order to approve posts. So you can set it so, okay, Phil, your post might be like pending since August, and then if it's chronological, the August ones will show up at the really, really top, and then the ones now will show up at the really bottom. But on your mobile phone, which is when most people will be out and using their mobile phones these days, it doesn't give you the option to sort it by chronological. It just sorts by the newest. So if Tom made a post right now and I happen to be approving posts, Tom's post might get approved first before Phil's. And it's like that's why we encourage our team to do it on a laptop. But like at the end of the day, when you have the most time is like sitting on the train, sitting like in front of the TV, like those types of things. Yeah, you're not always with your laptop.
And so you think like, oh, if you have it on my laptop, surely you can get it on your phone. But it's not as easy as just like
Facebook hasn't come up with a way where they can just flip all the data.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Like,
they're still working on that, and that's like the biggest thing that we've asked Facebook to do. And so like they're working on it constantly, but like a lot of the time it's about logistics.
What's the most weirdest thing that's been sent for approval?
I don't know. We started because like one of the mods was like, oh, can we like have like a chat where we like post things that shouldn't be posted, just like in our group. And then so we started what's it called again?
Something com. It's on my phone. Discord.
Discord.
Discord,
So we
It's
started,
a gaming thing, so I've never used it before.
Well, obviously we're not.
so we started a Discord chat, and like that's just more like casual. Like our Discord is like our casual. Our Facebook is like more professional.
Yeah.
How do you explain all of this to your parents?
How we don't.
Do they
They're just like,
understand
how's
it?
Subtle Asian traits going? We're like, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Do they know what it is? Like, do they understand like what the group is about?
Do they? They
Yes
like,
and no.
They get some of the memes. Like I
Yeah.
send them in our family WeChat group, and then sometimes they get it, but sometimes they're like, I don't understand. Like, they don't understand what the meme is, and they're like, oh, who's this person? I'm like, that's not the point. Like, just laugh at it.
Oh my god.
And coming up this Monday, it'll be your first birthday, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
So that's been around for a year.
That's so weird.
What are you guys going to do for, as a bit like a celebration or?
So a Monday night, yay.
What are things?
No, but it's like a Monday for us, but then for the Americans,
It'll be
it's like
the
a day
Tuesday.
behind. Yeah.
Right.
No,
Yes.
it'll be our Tuesday will be their Monday.
That's what I meant.
But it's kind of hard because you both have uni full time.
Yeah.
You guys are running one of the biggest Facebook group pretty much in the world.
Yeah.
Is it hard to find time to kind of prioritize life over Subtle Asian traits or?
So like this weekend, well, I'm doing this interview now, and then we need to go home. I need to start this. So I'm creating, like, I'm in charge of creating like a birthday video, like a highlights video. Now that I've told everyone, I feel like I need to start it.
It's official.
Everyone
all
will be, like,
expecting it.
anticipating like this birthday video that I'm making, and it'll be like shit house, or it won't even be a thing. So like I need to be in charge of creating this video, and then what Kerry is in charge of it's a secret, but Subtle Asian Traits is we've created some merch, like some designs.
Oh, such
This
a
is
secret,
gonna be
isn't it?
posted like after the birthday thing.
yeah,
Okay.
so well there we go.
Yeah.
Come buy our merch.
And then we're also doing like an event in Melbourne.
I love
yeah,
at a
so it's
club.
I love at clubbing, so like more facilitate the nightlife kind of thing. Yeah, and then I don't know, it's just to like kind of thank our members for like being there. We've hit like 1.5, which is amazing. Never like wouldn't have thought of reaching.
I
that
can't even imagine
much.
what 1.5 million people look like. So in February, Kerry and I went to George Ezra's concert, and
For my
then
birthday.
inside the stadium, I think I googled it, and it was like, 60,000 people sitting here, and this is when Sat had hit like 300,000. So I was like, Kerry, imagine this stadium full of people, but times by 6 times, like. That's how many people we have in Sat, and we were like, whoa. Yeah. And like, what does 1.5 million people even look like? I've never seen that many people, so you can't imagine
That'd be crazy.
what it's like, yeah.
Is there anything in the future that you guys kind of working on or you want to release in the future?
Where do
What
you
are we
want
working
to? Where do you
on?
want to take Sat? Because you mentioned you want to do merch.
Yeah, so like we want to like release different types of merch. I think like during Christmas is a good time, and then during like Lunar New Year is like another great time. So it's a lot like near future, not like distant like 10 years future, because we have no idea. Like we didn't even know like SAT was going to last for like a year, let alone like another 5 years.
Yeah, but like events is definitely on our mind, but it's just the operations of how it would go ahead, because most of our team is inside Melbourne. And like, although the events that we've had in Melbourne so far have been quite successful, like it's just making those events elsewhere in the world. Even Sydney is damn hard because we're not physically in Sydney, and we don't know where the most popular places are in Sydney, what Sydney people are into. Like in America, like what the Americans are into. Like maybe we're into this type of music, but the American Asians might be into something totally different. So that's why we need mods in everywhere else in the world in a way. That way we can kind of gauge what it's like in their area.
Do you think you would ever do it full time?
I don't think so. I personally wouldn't.
Yeah,
Well, just because I don't have enough experiences in this.
Like I don't feel like I am equipped enough to know, what it's like to be in this industry. And I don't even know what the hell we're doing. Like people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't really know what we do for SAP. It just runs itself, and we do our thing.
When you meet people, how do you explain? Like, how do you introduce yourself? Do you say, "I'm Angela," or do you say, "I'm Angela and I'm the founder of Subtle
No,
Asian
I
Traits"?
never like to say it
Absolutely
because
not.
it seems
feel
like
it?
such a weird thing. Oh my God, especially when I explain it to white people.
Yes.
That's the
Oh my
most
gosh,
awkward
yes.
thing. So like I was trying to get time off to go to Facebook, right? And then so I was like to my manager, I was like, oh, I've invited to go to Facebook and speak on behalf of this group I made. Then he's like, so what? He's like, what, 50 years old? And he's like a white guy. And he's like, so what's this group you created? And I'm like, it's like this Asian group, and he probably thinks I'm such a weirdo. And he's like, yeah, you're so racist, Angela. Why are you like creating this group to do with Asians? Because like, I guess if you're around our age and like Australian born and American born or whatever, you don't really know what this is. And yeah, I don't remember what the question was.
But like even like flip side of that, like there's still a lot of white people who do know what like we are. Like
yeah, and I get so shocked.
yeah, I'm like why do you know? Like,
Yeah.
but like we don't discriminate. Like if you relate to it, then you can still be in the group.
Yeah, I swear, like some people, like some of the white people relate to more of the K-pop memes, anime memes than I do. Like I did not understand, like, cool. Like I know lots of Asians are into it, but I have no idea. Like if you tell me to name 5 K-pop groups, I would really struggle.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah. Phil wouldn't.
Me, I love all the K-pop memes. You should improve
All of them.
more Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We normally
Thank
ask
you.
our guests to, how our listeners can find you guys, but I think they know how to find you guys.
We're
Yeah, I'm
personally
sad.
as well.
What?
No, my Facebook and Instagram are on private.
Boring.
So your private lives are more private.
Absolutely, yeah.
My
I know,
life
do
is
you wanna-
really not interesting.
No,
like,
no. Oh,
I swear, like all I do is sat.
No, you need to become an influencer. Remember? Yeah.
Without the bikini.
Yeah.
pics.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining
Thank
us
you so
so
much.
much. And yeah, we'll have to send everyone to join SAT, even though they're probably a part of SAT already.
Yeah, if not, come join Sat.
Yes.
like our Instagram.
Please like and
Oh,
subscribe.
yes. How do we find you on Instagram?
It's just Subtle Asian Trades. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the best memes of Subtle Asian Traits.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, to be honest, like lots of the memes that we have on the Instagram have come from our Facebook group. So if you're not part of the Facebook group, that's where it's all at. Yeah.
Before we go, we have to do this. Okay, what's your favorite meme so far?
I hate this
past year?
question.
I know, because I never know.
It always changes. Like people ask me like, what's that been about? And it all started off like being sentences of traits. And then it became like those Drake wearing the orange jacket and like those types of ones. And then it became the pronunciation. It's like bendan and then like stupid dan or like something. And then it's been the Pikachu memes and then became like the weird Kevin things. And then now it's like the Chinese character of like Le.
Walks into a bar.
Yeah, walks into a bar and then they become like Mr. Le, like whatever. I don't know what.
I don't know. I think my favorite ones are like the Grandma Star one.
Grandma's,
they're like
they're making a star,
make
like
a
6
star.
people making a star.
Right?
Yeah,
And
we
then, like,
did that. We did that.
Yes, we did that at the event
And
last
Yeah.
time.
it's
Oh
so
my God.
and then all
hard.
like the different variations of it. Like there's one with like
Yes.
8 people, and like the Vietnamese like heirs or something.
No, like not only just the memes, but the stories I think have been really cool. Like you guys would have seen the I think it's Chinese or Hong Kong, that guy who married like a black girl. That one reached the amount of people that it viewed it. I don't remember the statistic, but like it has 102,000 reactions, which is crazy. Like someone commented on it and it was like, oh, this has received more publicity than the Amazon fires. And I was like, oh yeah, kind of true.
We should laugh about that.
We should laugh about that.
Go support the Amazon fires.
Oh yeah, and another one that I saw today was it was like a screenshot of like it was like a chat between two people, messengers, and it was like, a Mid-Autumn Festival or whatever. I think it's like, oh, are you going to Mid-Autumn Festival or something? And the other guy's like, oh, so who's the headliner? And then he's like, dude, no, it's a Chinese it's a Chinese event. It's not a festival, it's not a rave.
His name is Mooncake.
Yeah, that's a headliner. But yeah, Sat has like, we don't actually write the post. It all comes from the people. So it's literally like whatever we get. And it's really cool how it's all changed. Like we have different phases of things. Like the Kevin jokes you probably have seen less of this week, and like next week might be something totally new.
At the moment, it's all about mooncakes.
It's about mooncakes at the moment, but I don't know, like when Chinese New Year or Christmas comes around, there'll be new ones, and
But like that's just like all the more reason why we have to thank our members. Like that's like they're the reason
they
why.
keep the content fresh.
Exactly.
And yeah, we don't know what the hell's trending.
I know we're supposed to say bye, but are you worried that you're going to run out of content, or you think it's going to be?
They've got 40,000.
We'll keep content for the next month at least. Running out of things, like sometimes I'm like, because lots of them are reposts, and obviously like the Chinese herbal medicine ones are getting old. Like people already saw them like first like few months, and people don't want to see them anymore. The boba dropping on the floor is getting a bit boring as well. So that's when it comes back on us. Like we have to delete it, and we have to be like, guys, this has been reposted so many times. Like stop approving it. It's getting boring.
You guys are like the gatekeepers.
We are. We are the gatekeepers of the Sat heaven.
Okay, so before we go, what are your tips to get a post approved quicker, or to make sure your post gets approved on SAT?
Just make it funny, original. Like
Original content.
I like one of the best ones is just like when like someone just whips out their phone and takes a photo of like their parents or something. Like those are like
Yeah.
the best ones.
Yeah, sharing stories I think is really like interesting. Like some guy, he said that I was showing my mum this, and he was like 40 years old, and I'm like, when I stalked him, I'm like, what the hell is a 40-year-old dad doing in our Subtle Asian Traits group? But it was really inspiring. Like he was saying how in the past, like he wanted to join the army, the US Army or something like that, and then in the Chinese culture they say like, oh, good boys don't join the army and stuff like that, but he wanted to do it, and the cutoff for the army was like 36 years old or something like that, and he just followed his dreams, although his parents were really traditional and said don't do it. And I think that's really inspiring, just like stories and just sharing experiences, and like lots of them are to do with like mental health issues. I think is really important.
I agree.
So in
Especially
the Asian
in the Asian
culture,
community,
yeah, like just mental health isn't really spoken about, and although like we're definitely not psychologists, and our members lots of the time aren't professionals, just seeking like advice from the rest of the community and how they dealt with their problems, I think is really awesome.
Just like start the discussion and conversation about mental health. Yeah.
And asking like randoms on the internet for help, and then having such a strong community, and like all the comments are most of the time so positive.
Especially because like the other day was like Are You Okay Day, so like I saw a lot of posts like being like blah blah blah, like the statistics behind like depression in like Asians, like in like Western communities and like in like Asian communities as well. So
And even just being like all those ones like, being like homosexual and stuff, and they're like, how did you come out to your Asian parents? Or like really lighthearted ones like, how did you tell your Asian parents you had a tattoo? Or like ear piercings and nose piercings and stuff. Like, how did you hide it from them? At the end of the day, like, I think our parents will always be traditional to some extent, and like whether we're from India or from China, like some white people also experience this as well, like trying to hide these things from their parents. But coming to other people for support and stories and experiences, I think makes it so relatable.
Absolutely, and we have that kind of sense, because even though we're all from different parts of the world, we all have that kind of connection to each other, and we all go through the same thing because we all come from that similar background as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you so much for you guys for coming here
Thank
today.
you.
third time lucky. Let's go.
And thanks for joining. And
We're
Angela,
literally like the Asian parents when they're like, okay, guys, we're like, right, we're leaving the house now, and they stand in front of the door and then in front of the car, and they just keep talking. You're like, Mum, let's fucking go.
Because it's getting really hot in here.
Yeah, it is. I'm sweating.
It's like a sauna.
okay, thanks.
Thanks for listening. Join the hundreds of other people who have connected with us on Facebook, and also follow us on @LemonPodcast to see what goes on behind the scenes on Instagram. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow us on Spotify or subscribe to us on whichever platform you're listening to. Also, leave us a 5-star review so we can reach more ears. We will see you guys back next week. Bye-bye.